Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I'm Dana. Hey, look, it's Lisa. She's back from the Tampa. Lisa, I gave you all kinds of kudos last week for going to help them down in Tampa.
I saw. I
loved
appreciate that very much. Thank
It
you.
was so
I was
good.
watching you guys.
Yeah, I know. We love that you watch us when you're not here. We're going to talk about a lot tonight. We're going to mostly focus on quarterbacks because this weekend seemed to be disastrous for quarterbacks. There was just a lot going on, a lot of bad football, a lot of craziness. So I definitely want to get into that. But before we get into anything, of course, we want to thank our sponsors, Donkey's Place Cheesesteak, 3 locations in New Jersey. Oh my gosh, Lisa. So I was in Maine this last weekend. My husband and I acted like old people and went leaf peeping. It's beautiful. Anyone from Maine, holy cow, you're so lucky. This is what I said. It's the Colorado of the East Coast. Like it's just gorgeous, right? Anyway, had a great time. But I was like, I wish we were just a little closer to New Jersey because I would totally pop in on them and be like, hey, what's going on? Anyway, Donkey's Place Cheesesteaks, 3 locations in New Jersey, Camden, Medford, and Mount Holly. But of course, you can go to goldbelly.com. You know, we got to figure out how to get Goldbelly to pay us for our sponsorship because we mention them every week. But you can go to goldbelly.com and look up Donkey's Place Cheesesteak. They pop right up and you can have it sent directly to your home. So thank you guys so much for sponsoring us again. Year number 4. Okay. This weekend, did you... Hey, look, it says it's start. That's what it says, Lisa.
This one I did. Ding.
So I know you were real busy this weekend and
Yes.
probably didn't get a chance to watch a ton of football. But Lisa, this weekend, it was an interesting weekend of football. There was some of the worst football I've seen played happen this weekend. And then there were some really good football games that were fun to watch. But I think the thing that stood out, I want to say hi to everyone in chat. Oh, sure, Big Red. Big Red shows up this week when we talked about Spencer Rattler last week. You should have been here, Big Red. Should have been here. So funny. He says, what will make Carolina competitive again? We're going to talk about that. Don't worry. We won't. All right. So fantastic games, a lot of injuries, a lot focused around the quarterbacks. And Lisa, I know that is your favorite subject. So I want to start, of course, with Deshaun Watson. He has gone down, torn Achilles. He's out for the season. To be honest with you, Lisa, he wasn't playing that great beforehand, right? Like
wasn't he the worst rated quarterback?
It was pretty bad.
He was close to the bottom.
Yeah. The team was not really going anywhere with him and the way he was playing. And he's not the only one that was playing bad. There's a lot of, things going wrong in that team right now. But my question is for you. First of all, we absolutely here do not agree with booing an injury ever. And I think that is terrible. But we had word from someone who was in stadium. They didn't hear it and they were there. So it makes me wonder if it was just pockets of people here and there. So we get it, Browns fans. But Lisa, what does this do for the Browns? Does it give them an opportunity to look outside of Deshaun Watson? Does this, is he for sure going to be gone? I think he's only played 19 games since he's been there.
Yeah.
Where does this put Deshaun Watson and the Browns?
Well, I think with him out of the lineup, if he weren't 1-6, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now. But there's a real good chance that the Browns offense gets better without him in the starting lineup. Okay. I think you're going to get an idea, a sense of where the Browns are as far as where their offense is right now, because 1-6 is pitiful right now. I certainly don't think they expected that kind of play from him. And, he's the highest paid quarterback in the league right now. It's guaranteed. So it's, they still have to pay him regardless of whether he's on the bench or not. But I think for the last 2 weeks, Browns fans have been screaming for him to hit the bench because they were just done regardless. Yeah. And like I said, I know I emphasize that, they're showing a lot. I think it was pockets of booing, like you said, but the players certainly were aware of it. And then, like I said, I don't know a sense of whether it was more because he got hurt, which I'm sure some of it was. I think some of the fans were just ready to see DTR, right? I think they were ready. So I think it was more cheering for, if he'd got benched, you might have heard the same cheering. And they went out and got some and then I think he went out with finger injury in the fourth quarter.
So yes,
he got hurt.
DTR is out. He's questionable right now. It looks like a tendon injury in his throwing hand, I believe, is what I read. So they got the Chiefs backup today. Was that this morning? Yeah, and so I think that's I mean, smart of the Browns. I think that they realize that this could be an ongoing issue for them.
Yeah. So I mean, I would look for Jameson to get the start and see what he can do. I think they'll probably let DTR's finger rest and see what Winston can do with Bailey as his zap up. Bailey Zappi as his backup.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see.
So looking forward with Deshaun, do you think they try and get out of this contract? So here, let me do this. So Camden said in chat, apparently the Browns had insurance on Watson. So if he got injured, he'd get money back. Therefore, the Browns ownership play him hoping he'd get hurt. I don't think they ever want him to get hurt. I think what they wanted him was to play better. And so they were giving him the opportunity to do that. You don't want an investment like that to get hurt. But at the same time, I don't know what this says for his future in Cleveland, Lise.
I don't foresee him playing in Cleveland again. That's me.
I think I'm kind of with you.
I think this injury was Cleveland's out.
Mm-hmm. I think that they're going to start looking forward to next year, I think is what's going to happen with Cleveland right now. So he was not the only one. When it rains, it pours for Vegas. Like, seriously, I think that so they get rid of their wide receiver and he goes to the Jets and loses. That made me so happy. Don't get me started. But so then they do that. And then what happens? Aiden O'Connell gets injured, fractured his thumb, 4 to 6 weeks on IR. They went and did they pick up Ritter today? Is it Desmond Ritter? I think
was it Desmond
today. I think so. They still have Gardner Minshew. This team is a disaster. And it doesn't always make sense to me, Lisa, because I really feel like they have some decent pieces. Their tight end, I have him in fantasy. Bowen, I think is his last name. Number one football or tight end out there right now. He's killing it, right? This kid is great. They still have Max Crosby, like him or not. They still have Max Crosby. They have some talent there. Their offense is just an absolute mess. So they're going to be stuck with Gardner Minshew, or maybe they'll go to Ritter. I don't know. We'll see. At least he has some starting experience. At least he's not just like a green rookie right out the bat. He's not.
I mean, he's got, but it's going to be hard right mid-season to pick up form.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But they haven't, like I said, they haven't been playing good football. So
right. I forgot to tell everyone, and I'm so sorry about this. If you were watching over on Twitter or on Facebook, come over to the YouTube channel. You can join us in chat. As you can see, we like to chat with our people. And then we get them every week. I love them. All right. So this one is the one that I think is the biggest to me. Outside of Deshaun, but like we said, Deshaun wasn't really playing, is Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was nailing it. This kid was doing so good. He was playing so well. I told you it's the first quarterback I've really liked in a long time, which at least I got happy about because I don't say that very often. It looks like he's now week to week. I think it's a rib injury, if I remember correctly.
It was.
Yeah. I think honestly, this is the one that's going to have the biggest impact because Washington was offensively keeping themselves in games and winning games. Their defense is a little suspect, I think, sometimes. But I think this one could be a huge impact on a team that really seemed to be kind of climbing well.
Yeah, and it's hard to assess Marcus Mariota because he came in, he was playing the Panthers. So it's hard to say. I mean, Jalen did come, he came back on the sidelines, but boy, those rib injuries, it's the next day that those things, oh my goodness. So it just depends on how bad and the degree it is. I mean, you might miss some time, but Marcus Mariota, like I said, it's hard to judge him because he came in the hapless Panthers. I mean, the Panthers are just terrible right now. So who ended up, and I think they ended up benching Andy Dalton and putting The
For
Alabama
like the
guy,
last 4 minutes or something.
I mean, it
Yeah.
was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going to be a degree on Daniels. Knowing the kid, he's going to try to. I just hope he doesn't rush it, like you said, because this kid's ready to go again. I mean, he came out on the sidelines, but boy, those rib injuries,
They
and
linger
it hinders.
sometimes,
Yeah,
too.
it'll hinder your throwing and your first hit, and then a lot of times depends on if they put that jacket on you. Sometimes that gets you a little bit, not so mobile. And
Right.
Jaden's very mobile, so it's going to be interesting to see how long he is actually out for,
Yeah.
and if Marcus can keep him afloat. And backup quarterbacks this year, I'll tell you. I mean,
Do you
how
remember we talked
important it
about
is.
that last year, Lisa? How important a decent
Depth,
backup, and you
depth.
pound the table for that every single year on how important a backup is.
Because see, what they do is like it's like a Deshaun. They go out there and sign these guys for mega money with just minimal experience backups that aren't that great.
Right.
I mean, you can get a team that can get a backup to win you a couple games till your starter gets back. It's fine. But I mean, when you look at the Dolphins, you look at, like I said, we don't know about Mariota because he was playing that. Look at the Browns with Deshaun. It just shows you how important it is. Keep looking. I always say that it doesn't matter. Have some stallions in the stables. So
absolutely. The interesting thing is they were talking about on sports radio this morning about how the Commanders' offense didn't really look all that different when Mariota came in, and they're like, "Does that mean Jaden Daniels isn't any good?" No, it means they were playing the Panthers. They didn't have to do anything spectacular. He didn't have to make any crazy runs, and that's not a diss on Marcus Mariota because, again, I think he's fantastic as a backup.
Starter. He was a starter.
He was a starter for years, right? So he knows what he's
experience
doing.
is there. Experience is there.
Yeah. In chat, Darcy said, it sounds like Jade's going to be fine, but big difference with ownership is they will take the long-term approach with his injury compared to previous and Dan Snyder. I think that is a huge part of it.
And I think it's huge for them because they're in the running. So why, try to rush it? Just see if Mariota can get you a couple more wins to Daniels is 100%. And then, come November, December, you're ready to roll.
Yeah. Look more toward the end of the season than early in the season. I think that's important too. And that is Daniels is going to be chomping at the bit to play, like you said, but sometimes you got to reel those rookies in a little bit. They can't just, they feel better. So I got to play. And we're going to talk about Tua later, guys. Don't worry. We're going to get there. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting. And I think that Dan Quinn, especially will be very,
just Robert Griffin Jr. just comes to everybody's mind because he's rushed him back in. And so I don't think, they're going to make the same mistake with this kid. Like I said, they just got to reel him down. Cause like I said, the kid's going to be chomping at the bit, wanting to play. So like I said, I think you need to sit down, look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is let him rest. You've got a capable backup in Mariota. He's not, he's not a first timer. He's not a rookie. So he's experienced, so you kind of see how you go and let him heal up.
A couple of comments. Camden says best thing to happen to the Commanders was getting a new owner. Could not agree more. Big Red, the Commanders aren't terrible. They're climbing and they're going to be fine. I agree with you. And then Darcy, now everyone needs to know this is his team. So he's a great insider on this. Says the starters were also out of the game in the fourth quarter. It was also 27-0 at the half. That game was a blowout. There have been no reason for Jaden Daniels to be back in the game, even if he was able to play anyway. Agreed. Yeah, we're going to talk about that Tampa Bay game. Don't think we're not going to, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and here Kristen says, I think the Commanders will be fine. The coaching is just too good. Kristen, matters. You know how I feel about the Dan Quinn. So yes, I agree completely. I completely agree. All right. So then, oddly enough, as we keep going, we have we're going to talk about the Dolphins here in a minute. Carr is questionable, but he's been back throwing. So we might get Carr back. Sorry to Big Red. Spencer Rattler might lose his job here.
He's going to lose his job. There's you've already had the Spencer. I mean, there's periods where you saw some really good. The kid's a baller. I mean, he'll keep going, but you also saw the first year inexperience. So Carr absolutely gives them the best shot to win. So there's no 100% when Carr's ready, he's going to be back in there. Let Rattler sit behind him and just
learn
and get the experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look back, and that's the first thing who gives you the best chance to win right now? It's Carr hand down,
especially in that division. That division is kind of up for grabs. So we definitely need, especially after the loss last night for Tampa Bay. So it'll be interesting. I just want to know, Big Red said, could the Commanders win the division?
Absolutely.
I picked him. I picked him to win the division. Big Red, I did it. I'm so excited. I'm so glad Dallas sucks this year. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton got in a car accident today. He's fine, but he's now questionable because of car accident. I'm telling you, this week for quarterbacks was just jinxed for some reason. It was the most bizarre weekend for sure. All right. Let's talk about Tua for a minute here. I want to talk about the Dolphins. So the Dolphins this week, obviously Tua's been out with concussion, and then they lost their starter again this week, whoever played. I'm sorry, Lisa, I'm spacing on the name.
Huntley.
Yes.
Snoop.
Tyler Huntley got hurt.
Tyler.
Yeah. Oh, Snoop. That's right. And then miraculously today, he was like, I'm good. I can come back.
Yeah.
So Lisa, there's been a ton of conversation about this. We talked about it when it happened. We know that we knew Tua was not going to stay down. He wanted to come back and play badly. This team wants him to come back and play because they would be in a very different position than they are right now if he had been in the games that they were in. What are Dolphins fans' feelings about this? I'm sure they have to be torn to a certain extent.
Well, I think when you listen to the comments and stuff like that, it's pretty much he's made it perfectly clear it's his decision to come back, nobody else's but his. So at this point, you're at the juncture with fans. We just need to shut up and let him make his own decisions. If this is his life, his career, if it ends badly, it ends badly. There's not much we're going to do. I mean, he's got the Dolphins a little bit more in purgatory because we just don't know. I mean, at this point, if you're the organization, you've got to sit back. You've got to look for another quarterback. I'm sorry. That is just writing on the wall, especially when you look at this year and what's happened. You have to prepare for the future. And with the injuries that he sustained and throughout his career with the Dolphins, he was biting he chomping at the bit, just like we knew. He pounced back right from this one better than he had any others. He said,
"Yeah, it's faster."
Neurologist, faster. So he's very confident. The thing is as in an organization, in the backs, you have to have the whisper of securing the other quarterback here. And the fans pretty much said, shut up, it's my decision, regardless of what the fans say, analysts say, or anything. And the last couple games without him, will it matter? Personally, I don't think it's going to matter much. I think it's a whole team. There's just not one player that, will elevate
one catch, Lisa. Jalen Waddle had one catch.
Yep. And so it's funny. Is this a coach that has based his career around one guy that he can't coach without him? It's just absolutely baffling to fans. As
that's a good question.
Hill, Jay, and these are two quarterbacks you paid. You paid these guys.
Yeah, right.
And you lose Tua, and it's like Mike McDaniels is, in shark infested waters. He just doesn't know. He doesn't know how to act without him.
I know. I'm first of all, I'm sad you didn't call him hipster homebrewer, but right now he's not being hipster homebrewer. He's not making it work. Right. Yeah. It just seems off. And he seems deflated on the sideline.
He does.
Like
he just,
something missing there. It's a little strange. I feel like Camden wants to know if she should start doing fantasy.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. I think it's going to take a little bit. So, and then Big Red said here, Tua is just made of glass. It is what it is.
It is.
It seems a little bit.
It is.
It just is kind of sad because it has affected. Now, listen, we understand anytime you lose a major quarterback, let's say Patrick Mahomes were to go down tomorrow, that is a different team, right? Like we understand that. But then to have all the other players fall off at the same rate is what I think is surprising too. And that was actually brought up on sports radio today. Also, it's like, where's the coaching? What are we missing? Are they just they just decided without Tua, we're just going to sink. It seemed a little
it does.
interesting.
He does. He seems lost. He just, and a lot of the analysts are saying he's just that inexperience of the head coaching is just there. And that's what they said. And it's always been that way with me. And it seems that way. Only a handful of coaches in this league can handle head coaching responsibilities and play calling duties to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super hard because everybody's saying they want him to give up the play calling. So, and the time, I mean, look at our whole games. I mean, you analyze all these Dolphin games, they're undisciplined, stupid penalties. And the time, if you watch even with Tua, we're going down to last second. There's no time to look at this line when he gets up there. And it's been McDaniel's problem day one since he got here. And it hasn't gotten any better.
Yeah, he needs to give that up. He needs to give that up. He needs to give up play calling. He needs to hand that over for sure. It's crazy. Well, let's talk about some of the good quarterbacks in this league, shall we? Hello, Lamar Jackson. Let me tell you this. I put it on Twitter yesterday. 23% is the only percent chance I had to win one of the fantasy football games I was in. By the end of that game, I won.
God, quarterbacks matter, baby.
Well, he mattered that week. For the week before, my running back mattered. But this week, it was all about him. It was fantastic. So I'm going to scroll back up because that is the first thing chat was talking about. Kristen, Lamar for MVP. Gino too. You do need to
stop it. Just stop that Gino MVP stuff. Yeah. I'm not even going there with you guys. No.
Camden says Lamar Jackson MVP. The funny thing,
hands down.
The interesting thing is he says he doesn't care about Lamar. He's won a couple of those. He wants a Super Bowl. And so
I don't blame him.
That game last night was so well put together. I feel horrible for Tampa Bay. They lost Mike Evans to a hamstring. They lost Goodwin to a dislocated ankle surgery on.
He's out.
That just one thing. Todd Bowles was just hammered last night, right? Like for sure. But the Ravens took full advantage and looked fantastic. Here's what I want to pose to you. So really, when you talk about really good quarterbacks in this league, we do talk about Lamar. We talk about Patrick Mahomes. We talk about Josh Allen to a certain extent. And sometimes he's a little hit or miss, but we love Josh Allen, right? Of the two, Lamar Jackson is playing at a different level this year. And Patrick Mahomes and that offense seems to struggle. They always win. And thank God they won this last week. Made me so happy. But the Chiefs are still 5-0. The Ravens are, what are they? 5-2, or I can't remember now. Here's the interesting thing. Are they 6-0? They are 6-0. So here's the thing. When you look at those two, Lisa, and I want you to be completely honest, don't look at their history, just the way they're playing this year. Which quarterback do you want on your team?
Patrick Mahomes.
Why?
When you watch Patrick, there's a different dimension to his game. There's plays that just ignite that team. Lamar is Lamar. It's the same thing. He's got the quality of a great quarterback, elite quarterback. He's won 2 or 3 MVPs already. The knock on Lamar is he can't get through the championship game. That is Lamar's knock.
That's true.
Patrick can. And Patrick does it in ways that just boggle your mind. And I know everybody was crying on that one play alone where he was like, he wasn't even, to me, he wasn't going out of bounds. It's that fake he does. And everybody, I mean, he's 10 miles. He's 10 miles across the line of scrimmage and they still bite. And it's like the guy wasn't angled. I don't think he faked going out of bounds. He was going down the sidelines. He just has a different element to his game to me. He's got that stupid sixth sense that quarterback has. He knows where everybody is around him at all times. He just makes plays that just boggle your mind on how well he just ignites a team. I mean, one play, they can get hammered for 3 quarters and you're just like, oh my God, they're horrible. Win. But they stick around. Around. They're not getting blown out. And then that one play, he just does this stupid no look or this crazy, should have been on the ground 5 times, but yet 30 yards down the field. And that's it. The next thing it's lights out. He just hands you a loss. So I think it's just a different element for him. And if I'm an owner, if I'm a coach and I'm starting my franchise out, he's my quarterback. He's QB1 all the time.
Here's what's funny to me is I much prefer watching Lamar play than Patrick, because I think Pat makes it look like backyard football, which is fun. But sometimes I'm like, I just want some consistency there, and I don't want it to look like you're going to die every single play. And he does that sometimes. But
consistently good.
He finishes, right? That's what it is. There are some quarters where I'm like, what the hell is wrong with him? Is he injured? But he finishes. And having had Russell Wilson as my quarterback, finishing in the fourth quarter is very,
Can we talk about Russell?
We will talk about Russell in just a second. I have him on the list. Don't you worry. Darcy said the Ravens are 5-2 and they have looked better every single game. God, Derrick Henry. Let me tell you, Derrick Henry's so happy he left. Him and Saquon Barkley.
And you gotta hope. You gotta hope down the line that to a lot of Chiefs fans, Derrick Henry could be that missing piece that finally throws them through a championship game.
Yep. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Okay. I'm sorry I missed this question before, Big Red. Should Miami have tried to get Cousins as an insurance policy, knowing Tua is prone to injury? What do you think, Lise?
It would have been a great pickup to me, because I think with Kurt wanted to be a starter, and any quarterback that comes down to Miami as a backup, if Tua's QB1, you'll have a chance to be a starter. That's to me. And I think that if you go in now, from what I've seen from McDaniels after Tua goes down, probably for Kurt, it's probably better he didn't, because it's like I said, this guy just seems like he has a meltdown without Tua. So I don't know that it is his whoopee. And I mean, it's been great talk, because it's, you have two different types of style of coaches. He's a coddler. He's not a Flores. He's not a Tomlin. He's not one of those, tough love coaches. He's a coddler. I mean, and it sucks, because I hate coddler coaches, and I think you're starting to see it. So
I love that. All right. So a few more comments we're going to throw out here. Big Red says having Kelsey as an insurance doesn't hurt Mahomes. Yes, but we have seen him get used less and less this year. It's because they save him for the playoffs. Every year.
Mr.
Swifty. Camden says Lamar's gonna have a 2,000+ yard rusher and Mahomes doesn't. I like Lisa said that could be the difference. Big Red wants to know who has the better supporting cast, Pat or Lamar. Lamar. I think Lamar.
I don't know.
There's no wide receivers in Kansas City.
It's hard because you have Kelsey. I mean, but if you go to a championship game, and you have these two teams dogging it out for some, it's great. It makes great football.
It'll make good football. Here's the problem is if the Chiefs end up with Cooper Kupp, it's done at that point. All right. So this is Darcy says Derrick Henry being the perfect fit for that offense. Long live Jerry. All right. So Bob threw out there, good for Russell. I was happy for him. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. I know you love him so much.
I told everybody you're going to be fine. No. G, if you're listening, my coworker, he's been so freaked out. And I said, let me tell you something. Russell's going to be perfect. Russell's going to be fine with Tomlin, because that's the kind of coach Russell needed, not Sean Payton. That was just a disaster. We were missing the long ball. Look at the scoring between the Steelers and Russell Wilson. You got to understand, it was his first game back. You got to give him a little bit of time to get in the rhythm, which you saw. He was a little rusty.
A couple quarters.
But boy, when he started cooking, that ball was coming out. I mean, the rainbows on those passes were great.
That first one, Lisa, he threw. I looked at my husband. I said, there he is.
There he is.
We found him. There he is.
Yep.
He's been
he texted me and he said, I should have listened to you. I knew they're going to be fine. They're going to be contenders now. And just give Russell some games to get going. And you're going to see Russell Wilson of the quarterback.
So Camden said, good for Russell. Broncos country is super quiet. And I want to talk about it for a minute.
Crickets.
Let me tell you, because they were mama all the time. Russell's no good anymore. And then even after, there were some who were like, oh, sure, he had one good game. What are you going to do now? Listen, you guys have your new quarterback, Bo Nix, right? And he's probably maybe going to be good, right? And so have at it. Let Russell be. This was a beef. Russell did nothing wrong to the Broncos. They kept insisting that he was the reason they were losing games. It wasn't. It was your terrible first head coach. And then he and Sean Payton just could not be in the same room. So it irritates me. And I'm not a quarterback defender, Lisa. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just am like, absolutely not. I cannot in any way, shape, or form deal with that.
They just tried to make Russell. They tried to make Russell play a different game. You got to let Russell be Russell.
Yep.
And know what you got
one way.
And Tomlin knows it. And Tomlin was like, I'll take him. And oh my God, I knew he'd be fine. I knew he was going to be all right. And I said, the Steelers fans going to be happy. Because like I said, watch it. And it's nothing against Fields. I think Fields did great.
He's going to be good at some point.
But yeah, the long ball was missing. The
scoring was missing.
Scoring. And he had 30 points. I mean, geez. I was like, he's good. Russell's back. Happy. The second quarter, Russell was back.
I was real happy for him. Robin. Hi, Robin. Robin is joining us. It says, love to see Russ's redemption. Mm-hmm. And then Big Red put in there, is Tomlin similar to Carroll in the way he interacts with his players? Similar and yet different. I will tell you.
Yes.
Mike Tomlin is a tough love coach, which Pete Carroll wasn't as much, but they have the same caring level and the same empathy level for their players. So Mike Tomlin is my favorite coach in football. And so I think that he has that perfect little blend, not quite so happy chipper, Pete Carroll-y. He's got a little bit more of an edge to him, but that depth of care, I think, is definitely there. And that's what Russell thrives on. He wants someone to challenge him, right? So it's going to be really good. So, all right, everyone, we are going to keep it at 30 minutes tonight because Lisa has to jet. So I wanted to, Lisa, thank you so much. I know that you squeezed this in. I greatly appreciate it. All right, everyone, we will be back again next Tuesday right here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about next week. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you then.